Welcome back, adventurers. This is your host, Tom, or Robots, and I am here, as usual, with my good buddy, Lotus of Doom. Welcome back to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. Lotus, how are you doing this fine Thursday?
I'm good, actually. I had a little bit of time before the show, which was a refreshing change of pace with my current work schedule. So nice. Little less immediately showing up to the show, but pretty excited to cover our other companion before we get new companions this current year.
I know, it's so exciting. We were joking before the show. Those of you who know me and have heard my funny voices on this show or on some of the shorts I've been doing on the Robots Radio YouTube channel. I was joking about talking like a Khajiit or an Argonian. This one is looking to do the entire episode as a Khajiit sometime. But you were like, you should save that for the new companion.
Yeah, save that for Ember. Yeah. And then see if people go completely nuts over it.
I'm not going to don't worry. I will not do an entire episode as a Khajiit. So that would be ridiculous. As much fun as it would be for me, I don't know that would be fun for our listeners. So don't worry. I'm not going to do that. But yes, we are talking about Bastian Hallix, I think is the way you pronounce his last name.
That's what I always said was Bastian Hallix. I'm not really sure where how you could pronounce it.
Yeah, Hallix, I think would maybe
Hallix,
be the other
pronunciation. I would say Hallix.
Hallix, there's two L's. Yeah. Our other companion, the one that we didn't cover yet from this last year of content. And that's what this episode is going to be about. We're going to dig into what we do know about Bastian, some of the details, some of the quirks of his personality, some of the things he likes, some of the things he doesn't like, and some of the little
quirks.
Yeah, some of the little nitty-gritty details. And don't worry, just like our last companion episode, we're not going to spoil the adventure that you can go on once you get the affinity score up high enough and the quests that you can go on that uncover other stuff. We're going to leave that still because we know a lot of you probably haven't finished that yet. So no spoilers on that content. We just want to give you a background as to the details of the character, some of the mysterious background that might be going on with that. I've got some speculation with maybe some connections to maybe some future content. And we're just going to, enjoy meeting the character a little bit. So why don't we go ahead and dig in, Lotus? What do you think?
I think we should.
First off, have you spent much time with Bastian? I know he's the less popular of the two between Bastian and Mirri.
So I actually have max affinity and max level with Bastian just because I'll give everybody a moment to be shocked.
I wonder why.
An achievement for doing so.
Oh, that's why. Yes.
There it is. But to be fair, I did what I would have played through just to get a storyline anyways, just because I really like just getting through all the storylines and everything like that. So I would absolutely just kind of go through it just to see what it was like, either of the new companions. If they don't have anything achievement wise tethered to them, even though I like that stuff, no matter what, I would go through either of those storylines because, I do all the quests long past anything I get beforehand. So I will definitely be checking that out. And I do like Bastion's storyline. It's actually pretty good. So it's not like it's certainly not a throwaway story. Bastian isn't without his uses. He's just not my preferred character of the two that we had.
Right. Yeah. I've unlocked him. I haven't spent much time with him, to be honest. I keep Mirri with me. She's the one who's more okay with the whole sneaky, steely thing. And that's kind of my go-to.
Much more convenient.
Yeah. That's my go-to thing, I guess. That's how I play. That's what my main does.
I'm very morally ambiguous in game.
Yeah, that's how I roll. But so I haven't spent as much time with Bastian, but let's get into the details as we do with these companion characters. And a lot of the characters we talk about, there's always a meet the character document that comes out, a letter usually written. And I think most of the player base doesn't actually take the time to read these, although they've been doing these for a very long time. So
yes, they have.
It's especially fun for us to read through these and talk about them on the show because, surprise, surprise, most people don't actually take the time to read these.
These were started with the original lore master before Lehman Tuttle, actually. So this dates way, way back. This has been like a thing in the it's not in the game, but I guess like companioned to the game for a very long time.
Right. Yeah. Usually when there's a new DLC introducing new characters, these will be released on the website. They'll get kind of passed around.
Yep.
And a lot of times people don't take the time to read them. But here, let's just dig into it. This one is written from the perspective of an Argonian. And I'm not going to do the voice, although I really want to. To Lars Tool. Okay, well, I can do it. To Lars Tool. Greetings, Root Brother. I am writing to warn you about a problem. A mage named Bastian Hallix is asking questions about gambling dens in Leowin's harbor districts. So immediately off the bat, we know two things about Bastian. One, he's a mage. He's actually a battle mage. He's specifically a certain type of battle mage that you can be in the game, a dragon knight. Very specifically, right?
Yes.
Which means that he has Dragon Knight abilities. He's got like his flame whip and fire stuff, right? He's doing that kind of stuff. But secondly, he's kind of a goody-goody.
Certainly, I mean, he definitely is. And by comparison to Mirri, who we had last episode and just kind of hinted at, more so than I think even he might be, just based on... yes, he's a goody-goody. There's a little, he kind of almost gets overplayed as being super morally, righteous just because the comparison is so much less. But he's definitely in the more upstanding, righteous way of doing things. And doesn't really care for the seedy underbelly of Tamriel. Right.
And it goes on and says... He represents the Silvels, a noble trading house of Daggerfall. Okay, I promise I'll stop doing it.
Just drift in and out of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It'll keep everybody in check. Everybody who wants it will get a little bit of the voice, and everybody who doesn't, it won't drive them mad.
Okay, no more. And he believes that some eggkin of the family, a fellow named Quistley Silvel, may have visited businesses under your control. I doubt that Bastian Hallix knows or cares who runs things in Leowin, but he intends to follow this Quistley's trail wherever it may lead. It seems likely that sooner or later he will wind up at the door to your hut. So this is like a warning letter, right? Normally, I would not worry myself about your nest. You know best how to manage your own business. But this Bastian Hallix is a talented battle mage, handy with both staff and sword. And he is nothing if not determined. He is the sort of dry skin who kicks down or blows up any obstacle you put in his path. As I learned the hard way. Earlier today, Bastian Hallix's search for Quistley Silvel led him to me. I have nothing to do with any missing Silvels, but I don't stand for anyone prying into my affairs. I sent 3 of my blades to waylay him when he returned to his inn. Hallix roasted poor Neremus, maybe is how you pronounce that name?
Yeah, I think it's Neremus.
With a firebolt, knocked Genetia senseless with a single blow from his staff, and then disarmed Claws in shadow and stabbed him with his own sword. That's pretty badass. I like that part. After the Zalunat, I decided to look into what he wanted and how to get rid of him. My spies learned that Bastian Hallix's eggsire was Lord Martel Hallix of Daggerfall. Lord Hallix angered High King Emmerich many years ago. How? My sources did not say. And the house was stripped of its lands and titles. Okay, so let's pause here. He's from Daggerfall.
Yeah.
He's a Breton. He comes from a line of royalty, or at least aristocracy.
Correct.
Lord Martel Hallix.
Yep.
Who was stripped of his title because he pissed off King Emmerich.
Right. And that's where the story gets kind of interesting. Obviously, like we said, we're not going to go into the story you can get to beyond his background. Mm-hmm. But it takes I don't know. I thought it was better than the character himself, because I actually really enjoyed it, where I'm very indifferent to Bastian. But his background that they, kind of explore is fascinating. And before we get too far away from the mention of Quistley. Quistley is the worst character I have experienced in a long time.
You don't like Quistley, huh?
Quistley is insufferable. To be fair, it's one of those situations that's really amusing to deal with, because you have the options to do a lot of the things you want to do. I'll just leave it at that.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, Quistley is a rough character to deal with. And Bastian shows that he has some pretty good restraint to not just bludgeon Quistley.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is interesting because this ties into some royalty, some Daggerfall royalty. And we know that the new season, the new year of content is going to tie into some Daggerfall royalty.
Right.
I'm interested to find out, and like we talked about, we're not going to dig too far into where this quest line ends up, but I'm interested to find it out. Does anything that Bastian have to do with like his family history, the royalty, like his connections, are these things going to tie into the storyline, the people that you meet, any of the stuff that's going on in High Isle? Like if you bring him along as a companion, does that tie into it?
I bet it will. Especially because it's kind of funny when you look back at the previous year and they breadcrumb like what they're going to be doing kind of like in the new year. It's hard to, gauge sometimes, because when you look back at something, do you see things because you know what's there, or did you miss them because you didn't know what was coming type of deal?
Right. Hindsight is 2020.
Fascinating to see when we get the new year. Is there more to did Bastian tell us more about this coming season than we ever realized once we get there?
Right.
It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. Also, I mean, we know that these characters comment on things, like our companions comment on things in the world. We talked about it with Mirri when you go visit the Clockwork City or certain places in Morrowind, or or even just like summoning companions. They comment on the world around them. If we're in High Isle and Bastian is with you when you are dealing with some lord or lady, is he going to have dialogue that comes out that fills in the blanks with some of the background of what's going on? Or do characters treat you differently when he's with you? Or is there some background with Lord Martell that actually comes into the story and has something to do with the actual plot line of what's going on in High Isle? Like, are these all things that are kind of tied together, and are we actually going to learn more about Bastian and what's going on in his life, or the characters that he's connected to with the coming storyline? Like, all of this could be part of it, right?
Yeah, it's hard to tell not seeing it, but there is the potential for that. And with kind of what we had mentioned last time, where the characters or these companions tie into so much, and they're not just, here's a companion, it exists, it'll fight for you. It makes me curious if, it's one thing to design your characters around the current season they're in, and we've only had one season so far with a companion that exists, so it would make sense. But we'll have two new companions, which will need to be made to interact with everything. How, to your point, how will the older companions also interact with new content that's coming? Like, it would seem like they'll all just have this complex interaction because they kind of act like they respond to things the way you would expect them to.
Yeah, they exist in the world. They to your point, like, will our Khajiit friend respond to things in Elsewhere?
Right.
And some of the people that you meet there, or some of the quest lines that come about. Yeah. This is fun stuff because it does open up the game to more possibilities, more potential for just exploration, just kind of, living in the world and just, experimenting with things.
Sure.
That I love those kinds of little Easter eggs and the things that make the game feel lived in. That just, that stuff is so cool. So anyway, it goes on and says, Bastian was fostered with the Silvel family and grew up under their roof. He works for the family as a roving troubleshooter. Now, pause here. He isn't actually the genetic descendant of Lord Martell. He's a foster child, which also leads to other interesting potential storylines. Like,
Yeah.
Who is his actual family? Where did he come from? Why is he fostered, right? All of that kind of stuff. He works with the family as a roving troubleshooter, looking after their interests wherever they do business. He acts like more of a hired specialist than a lord's son, but be careful with him. The Sylvels have gold, and we don't want to stumble into a fight with them. You will know Bastian when you see him. He is a fit, red-headed mage of 30 years or so, and he appears to exist in a constant state of annoyance. I don't think he's happy being sent to fetch a wayward Sylvel. Don't be misled by his hemming and hawing. He acts like he lacks confidence and fears confrontation, but it turns out he is more about actions than words. Fortunately, he is also a trusting sort. When he returned to me after my crew ambushed him, I had little trouble convincing him that I had nothing to do with it and sent him on his way. Feed him a likely story, and you should be able to keep him out of your mud pit. For a time, anyway. I love all the Argonianisms in this. Hallix has the persistence of a hungry Hajmota. Make it a good story, and make sure it sends him far away from Blackwood. That's my advice. Use it as you may. Pungent Adder. So, any other thoughts on this?
No, not too much. I was going to say it's a good flavor description for him. That's really it.
Yeah. So, it gives him some personality. I think because, and some of the people in chat had made a point to this, because the community has taken so fondly with Mirri, Bastian has kind of gotten the short end of the stick, just in contrast to her, right?
Well, and I mean, as we briefly, we talked about it a little bit actually on Tales of Tamriel last weekend when you and Doc joined us, and it just, to Doc's credit, she actually likes Bastian more, as several people in chat have mentioned. Hers is more of his tattoos than I think anything else about him, but still.
I think she likes having a handsome guy running around with her. I think that's part of it.
I think that's pretty much the goal. But nonetheless, look, whatever your proclivity is, that's fine. I'm not going to, you companion with who you want to companion with.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So that's his background. And of course, there's your initial quest called Competition and Contracts, where you have to investigate a cave that's been taken over by these Sithis cultists. And you have to go help him save his sibling. That's actually like his, what's it called? He was taken in by the family. It's not actually his sibling.
Yeah, it's like foster siblings.
Foster sibling, right?
Yeah, I don't really know how you'd. There might be a better term for it that I just don't know, but
yeah, I think it's foster sibling, and
yeah.
So and that sets you off on the storyline of what's going on, and you kind of follow up with that, and then of course there's more storylines after that where once you get the affinity level up high enough, you can kind of go further and do that stuff. So that adoptive brother, right?
Yeah, that's that kind of thing. There you go. That's right. Good.
And that's where you start to understand the personalities, right? The personality of Bastian and the personality of, the family differences and stuff. But that's the beginning of it. And we're going to take a break here in the middle of the show to thank our patrons. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the things specifically that Bastian likes in order to get that affinity level up, and the things that he doesn't like, and then some of the other little quirks. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The skies are marked with numberless sparks, each a fire, and every one a sign.
So here we are in the middle of the show, and before I get into the patron stuff, because we've got a number of new patrons, I just want to tune you guys into some changes that we've made with the show recently. If you haven't noticed yet, if you go back and you look at the early episodes of the show, there's like 90 episodes that are just missing from the feed. That is on purpose. There's a number one episode that is now different, explaining what has changed. And basically, I've taken those first 90 episodes and I've moved them off the feed for a number of reasons. And that first episode explains it. So go listen to that episode if you're curious. If you've already listened through the first 90 episodes, you don't need to worry. If you are tuning in right now to this episode because it's the first one you've ever listened to, or you just have kind of hopped around, the short explanation is that I'm starting everyone off with the first episode that Lotus joins me on in order to give people kind of an entry into the show that's more accurate for the way the show is now. and what I think are some of the best episodes of the show from like episode 91 on. And in order to kind of get them up to speed, and you can kind of jump around on the episodes as you want anyway, but those first 90 episodes are still available. They're available for patrons. They're ad-free. I've remastered the first 7 episodes in order to get the audio quality as good as I can. I've kind of shrunk them down a little bit, gotten rid of some of the little extra bits. But they're all still available on Patreon if anyone wants to listen to them, and you can get access to all 90 of those episodes, including all the rest of the episodes. Every episode is available on Patreon now, and you can get access to them for only $5, which means that if you are trying to catch up on those 90 episodes, everything from like the creation story to the different Daedra to the different races, all the like basic level stuff when it was just me doing the show, that's like 6 cents an episode. So if you really want to get access to those episodes, you can just pay $5, sign up for the Patreon. You can even just sign up for only 1 month if you wanted to. Just download all the episodes for like 6 cents an episode. They're all available. That's just the way to get access to them. And then you could just do that if you wanted to. But they're all there for everybody. And really, I just wanted to get new people up to speed with the way the podcast is now rather than the way it was 3 years ago when I started it, because so much has changed. So that's why I've made the changes, and you can get an RSS feed. You can tie it right into your podcatcher, listen to it like you would this show. It's really not that different. But if you have any questions, you can always shoot us a note on Twitter or on the Robots Radio Discord. We're happy to help you out and get you set up with all that stuff. That said, thank you for your patience with getting all this stuff changed around. And we do have a actual bunch of new patrons this last week, partly because of the changes. We've got, let's see, we've got a few different new people here. Let's see, Cody M, Anthony, Robert, and Blake J, and another patron who is anonymous. So thank you to all 5 of you. Thank you for signing up and joining us on the Patreon. Thank you for your support. And big thanks to all of our patrons. That means we're up to 64 patrons now. And that also includes our Daedric Prince Tier 5 level patrons, Mr. Gami Boy and Noodle Al Dente. Thank you to all of you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you so very much. If we've done anything to help you get through your work day, your work week, your drive to work, or the fact that you ate too much pizza 2 nights in a row while you were listening to podcasts or whatever you were doing, then go to patreon.com/Elder Scrolls Lorecast and check out all the different tiers where you can get ad-free episodes, t-shirts, stickers, join us on future episodes of the show, all that stuff. Just go check it out. There might be something that you would like and can help us by supporting the show. And it's because of you guys that I have a career as a content creator, and I'm able to make shows like this a priority in order to keep bringing you awesome content. So thank you again to everyone. Also, let's check it out. I don't know if we have any new reviews. I didn't pull this up ahead of time, but if you do leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, then I will read it out. If it's 5 stars, I will read it out on a future episode of the show. Or if it's less than 5 stars, but is notable because it's funny or insulting in a really interesting way, then I might read that out. No new ones in the last week, but that's another way you can help out the show. Also, I know a good at least 50 to 60% of you are listening on Spotify. That also has a way to rate the show now. So if you go to the page where you can actually see all the different episodes listed and scroll to the top and look on the top left, you'll see a little section, a little button where you can give it a rating. Please give us a 5-star rating on there, because that is very, very important. Spotify now ranks the shows based on average rating. And so if someone searches Elder Scrolls, then we will show up according to the average rating. So it really does help if you give us a 5-star rating on there. So if you like the show, please do that. It helps a ton. So that's what we got. Thank you to everybody. And let's get back with the rest of the show.
Yes, you're entirely brilliant. Conquering madness and all that. Blah, 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 blah.
All right, here we are, back to the regular part of the show. Oh, man. All right. Lotus, you have any thoughts on any of that stuff? I know kind of went through it real fast.
No, I mean, without going into his literal storyline from the game, which I recommend everybody just do. You don't need teammates for it. You can do it at your own pace. It's a very single player accomplishable task in game where you don't have to rush or whatever, I definitely recommend it so you can experience it for yourself. Since there's very few barriers outside owning the game and the expansion to do. And this is just more of his like background setup and what's been addressed outside the game. So it's like, no, there's a decent bit, but I feel like that's not overwhelming to give you kind of an idea of who you're going to get with Bastian and see how his story plays out that you can be along with, in the quest in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go into some of the details about the things that Bastian likes and the things that he doesn't. So we've got the list here. Of course, completing his personal quests gives you plus 500 points.
Yep. And
you can only do that once. So there's that. But aside from that, there's completing the Mages Guild daily quests gives you 125, which is his big one. He wants you to help the Mages Guild. He's a fan of that. Visiting a Mages Guild hall that could hold a portal to Ivea gives you 10 points, and you can do that every 20 hours. He loves that. That's a big one for him. He's big on the mages stuff in general.
He likes mage stuff. He does. Any type of mageness, you'll probably make Bastian pretty happy.
Yeah. So also visiting Ivea or Artaeum. So like the magical Sigic realm. He's super big on that. That you can only do that once every 20 hours. Also, that's 10 points for each of those. So if you're trying to level up your affinity, go just travel to all the magic-y places. He loves it. He'll comment on them as well. Is this your method? Did you do this stuff when you were making him like you?
So we had mentioned some of Mirri's last time. Very similar. When I was before I power leveled him the last bit of the way to get him to 20. Basically, while I was just questing doing other stuff, I would just have one of the two companions with me because it would slowly build up, the little things that we're actually about to get into, that the little bits that, they're not going to add a huge amount of affinity, but like a little bit here, a little bit there with things they like definitely will add up over the length of it. And I actually like having a companion when I quest specifically. So having one of the two of them out was pretty common. And I do remember the Artaeum one specifically, him being like mesmerized that Artaeum actually exists and he's there. Yeah, like, whoa, this place is real? Like that kind of comment. I don't remember the specific quote, but he's like super psyched for being there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So another big one is helping a random encounter. Plus 10. Now, I don't know specifically what that counts as. Do you know? Did you notice when this would proc? Which one was it?
So helping a random encounter.
So I think I know what it means, but I never had that one proc specifically. So in game, there's a lot of I mean, they're random encounters, but like you can have, say, for example, the one that I actually did for something else in Murkmire, there are hostages being taken from the villages by the blackguards or blackguards, because that was the huge debate on how you say their name. But by the blackguards, if you save the prisoner, that would be like a random encounter. Or if there's a mage out in the forest and like they open a portal and a Daedric thing comes through and attacks them, or a Tremor or something like that. Right. You save that NPC, that's saving them in a random encounter. And they usually say something to you, oh, thank you, or whatever. I believe that's what they're referring to as like, if you do that and help them and don't totally just leave them to do it themselves, I think you would get rapport with Bastian.
Oh, look at all the Daedra just coming out of that portal.
Man, that's a real shame. Sorry to see that as he's just being engulfed in scamps or something. It's like, well, see you later. Best of luck. That's
a lot of scamps coming out of that portal to that
That's a real shame. Anyways, these fish aren't going to catch themselves.
Sucks to be you.
Leave them there.
Later, Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So another portal thing, gathering Psijic portals. Again, magic-y stuff. Love that. +5. So cool with that. Also, if you're doing scrying, take Bastian with you. Scrying +5 every 5 minutes.
Yep.
So he should be your scrying partner.
Actually, you should combo it. Scry with Bastian, dig with Mirri.
Oh, so it's like swap them both out. Yeah.
Swap them. Use one for the one they prefer and then switch it over for the other half, because each of them like 50% of what you're doing.
Yeah. So think like do the magic-y part with Bastian, do the archaeology part with Mirri.
Correct.
Good. That's a great tip because that goes directly with what we talked about with Mirri last week or 2 weeks ago. And then the really tiny ones for 1 point, visiting a crafting station, bring Bastian with you. So if you're doing your crafting, your dailies or whatever.
Yeah. Do your writs with Bastian.
With Bastian. Reading a random book +1 every 15 minutes.
Mirri likes that too. They just like knowledge.
Knowledge is power.
There it is.
That's the quote. Killing worm cultists +1 every 5 to 10 minutes.
Which is great if you're doing dark anchors.
So yeah, kill those worm cultists.
Yep.
He doesn't like them. Also bandits, killing bandits +1. And also killing night runners in Somerset.
All right. It's oddly specific, that last one.
Very specific. He's got a thing against worm cultists, bandits, and night runners.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Right, so he just doesn't like that stuff.
He doesn't like them.
Yep. So improving companion rapport unlocks the following. So that includes completing any of Bastion's side quests, which of course results in a large rapport boost. And then by completing meta achievements associated with them, the player can unlock a keepsake collectible for Bastian, which provides the benefits of the non-combat perk even while he isn't active. Dun, 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 dun. This is all the gamey stuff, right? All right, let's talk about the stuff that he doesn't like. So these are the things to avoid when you've got him out with you and he's running around the world. So first of all, any thievery and killing friendly NPCs, that's just a no-no. -25.
Yeah.
So don't steal anything. So if you look at something and there's red text and Bastian's with you, just don't do it. Just nope. Put him away, then steal it, then pull him back out, or bring Mirri out because she likes thievery. But neither of them like killing NPCs. That's just a no-no all the way around. Also, using the Blade of Woe on friendly NPCs, -25 points.
Yes, same type of deal with Mirri on this one.
Yeah, both of them don't like that at all.
Yeah.
The hope is that our new Khajiit companion is actually going to be cool with that. Maybe not like it, but at least won't have a disapproval.
Be neutral to it is, maybe.
Yeah. So this coming expansion, hopefully that'll be a thing that you can actually do with a companion coming up. Also, no pickpocketing. That's another -25. So no pickpocketing.
It's very uppity.
He's just like, leave these poor people alone and don't steal their stuff.
It's almost like this person isn't like Bastian isn't just like a monster.
It's like he's just kind of, a good guy who doesn't think that you should be doing things that harm other people or make them upset. I mean, whatever.
That's not my gameplay rulebook.
Whatever. I mean, these are digital people. What are you thinking?
Do what I want.
Weirdo. Also, stealing. Just stealing at all.
Yeah.
-5.
Really could have just combined all that into generalized mischief and thievery.
Right. This also includes looting thieves' troves, -5. Which is
infuriating because that actually ties into several other game mechanics. So that's my biggest turnoff, since I play these games much more game oriented, not like RP oriented.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting what's in a Thieves Guild because Bastion's being uppity.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Mirri likes that stuff. In fact, she could even give you bonuses when you find a thieves trove.
Yeah. She usually says that she's impressed. She's like, oh, I didn't even see that or something like that.
Right.
So.
You might even get like an extra item. So like you come across a thieves trove, swap them out, bring Mirri out, take the thieves trove, switch her back out again.
Absolutely.
Fleeing from guards So if you are in trouble, and so let's say you and Mirri have been on like a thieving spree and you've got yourselves a wanted level, and for some reason you swap Bastian back out and some guard is like, stop, thief. Don't run away.
Yep. Stop right there, criminal scum, and actually stop right there, criminal scum, or you're going to have a bigger problem on your hands.
Yeah. Pay up and then just deal with that. Or Bastion's going to have a problem with you because you better pay up for, dealing with it. Or stop and make sure that you have, what's the item called that like pays off your stuff?
The leniency edicts.
Yes, that's the word. Everything has a title or a name, and I just never remember names and titles of things in my brain.
I use them a lot.
Okay, well there you go. I just don't get freaking caught, Lotus. Duh.
Yeah. Look, a lot of times I struggle because I will do my writs and be like half paying attention, and I'll grab something that's not mine off the stand, and I'm like, damn it. So I immediately have to use an edict to get rid of it so I can go back into town.
And then this one's probably the funniest. Crafting provisions with cheese. -1.
That right there, and it was brought up in chat. That is unacceptable. Sheogorath is very displeased. There'll be none of this.
None of this.
And that's why he is a faux good person. He's not lactose intolerant. He just disapproves of cheese.
He would never make it in like the fast food business. No. Like cheese is on everything.
Or America at all.
Or America at all.
Because we have cheese on our cheese.
Cheese is on everything. Extra cheese.
Yeah.
We have, yes.
Thumbs down, Bastian.
Yeah. It's a Sheogorath would just like, this is not fly. Not at all. In chat, Rob the Princess says, what's the difference between looting literally anything in the game and looting a thieves trove? Like they're the same thing. I never said that. There are specifically things called thieves troves that you can find out in the wild or in specific locations that give you specific types of items.
I know it is funny though,
but it is
like,
it's
the same way in a lot of the older games. How do they know an item is stolen? Like, why would they know it? Like if I stole a plate off some random house and then traded in, how does that merchant know that plate was stolen?
Right. How do they know I just didn't own a plate and brought it from my home and just sold you a
game
plate?
Game tropes.
Right. That's a good question.
But yeah, it's a pretty funny logical like discrepancy.
Yes. So those are his quirks. Those are some of his, especially the cheese one is pretty weird. And then some other little tiny details here at the end of the show. We've got some other little notes from the UESP wiki. When passing an NPC that salutes, Bastian salutes back. Did you know this?
Okay, that I did not actually know was a thing. Mm-hmm. That's weird.
Yeah. So if you take him on some quests, like so just some of the questing around the world where you happen to pass like guards, or you're on some quest with like a military and the military salutes like a leader or whatever, Bastian will animate with anybody saluting as if it's just like proper decorum. He'll do it.
He's being respectful. I respect the respect.
Yeah. Also, Bastian by default wears ancestral Breton armor. That's the type of armor that he's wearing, in case you were wondering.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. During a step back in time, which is a quest, when Commander Parmion delivers his rousing speech, Bastian will cheer at the end along with the other soldiers. So another one of those soldier things where that's what he'll do. Like that's just what he does. So pretty cool. During Wolves in the Fold, when you expose a Camlorn refugee as a werewolf, Bastian will use a phrase for when you attack an innocent, even though the refugees turn aggressive before you attack. This, however, does not count towards lowering his rapport.
All right, that's just weird.
Right? Like, I don't know if that's like a bug or just like a quirk or something.
All I could just think of was like, no, please don't. All right, no, you can do it though.
All right. Okay, fine. Yeah.
No, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean you actually shouldn't. I'm just saying.
I'm just reacting.
Killing that werewolf.
Yeah. Weird. And during delaying the daggers, when Garen Indoril escorts you to the West Gate, Bastian will mimic Garen's moves, including running ahead of you alongside Garen and running back into the city and dismissing himself once you reach Holgun.
What the hell?
Right? Again, I think maybe this one's a bug, or maybe it's like
more like a bug,
like a memory limitation or something. Like he just ends up like, maybe they had to like get him to like despawn,
or somehow he's tied to the pathing of another character. That's weird.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Okay, yeah, that's some nitpicky code weirdness, right?
But it's funny to think of it as like a quirk of the person, like the character,
right?
Where he's just like, oh, I gotta go. He just like takes off. He's like,
my home planet needs me.
Right, I'm coming with you, Garen. Bye. I'm going home.
Yeah, it's all right. Fair enough, Bastian. Fair enough.
Yeah, some good stuff. But that's Bastian, and I mean, we could get into the spoilery stuff, but we're gonna hold off on that because we like to leave that stuff for you guys to discover in the games without spoiling that stuff until we're far enough away from the content that we feel like it's worth discussing. So maybe we'll get into that at maybe we'll come back around a year from now when we feel like everyone's invested in the new companions and we can kind of come back and talk about spoilery stuff. But any other thoughts, Lotus, on Bastian as a companion?
Like I said, Bastian's definitely not my preferred choice, but still another good character to have added to the game and give some diversity, because actually it turned out a lot of people in chat seem like they actually like Bastian when they play more honorable playthroughs, which totally makes sense. So, and even if you're not a fan of Bastian, I do suggest definitely doing his quest line. It's pretty awesome. I don't know. I like that one too. Both of the storylines for the companions I thought were very well done and just long enough to feel like a full, like interesting, complete storyline without getting kind of like, okay, like how long is this going to go? I felt like they were both like good time length. Obviously the biggest holdup to progress them is just making sure that they don't hate you, because they're not going to want to do quests with you if they think you suck.
Yeah, I would be interested to find out if anybody got them to total like bottom level negative affinity.
Yes, they will leave you.
Like, has anybody done that? Like,
yes.
Any of our listeners?
I've had a couple of my friends mess around with them, but I do know that if you get the affinity low enough, they will apparently they'll basically tell you to screw, and they will unsummon themselves until their affinity balances back out.
Does it like a little bit once they're gone? Does it just over time adjust back?
It kind of like adjusts back because they become unfrustrated with you, and they will come back, and their affinity will still be bad, but they'll tolerate you again.
That's funny.
Yeah, but basically they will just tell you to pound sand and leave. Like,
screw you, buddy. Get out of here.
So you can actually piss them off to the point that they will tell you to peace out.
Oh, that's great. That's really cool.
I haven't done it myself, but I have heard that's kind of the method to it. But as far as I understand, you got to get it pretty low. You're blade of woe in a lot of people to get it.
Yeah. Well, -25. I mean,
let up.
There's definitely a few things you can do there to kind of add it up pretty quickly if you really wanted to do it. You know, it'd be really frustrating for people who play like you is if there was also a achievement.
Yeah,
for getting
do both sides of the spectrum.
Getting on both sides of the spectrum.
Woof. To be fair, I'd probably go with upsetting them first, so that I could at least stack on, because you get so much for their main quests.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I'd have to kill like all of Somerset with the Blade of Woe or something to get back down at this point.
There's more ways to get positive and larger positive amounts.
Yes, the positives are bigger.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. The positives are definitely bigger than the negatives. Like if you're doing negatives, you basically are intentionally being a jerk to them, outside of some weirdnesses like unintentionally picking bugs, like with Mirri.
Yeah, which I keep freaking doing.
Right, I do too. But it's never enough that it ever makes a tangible impact on how she feels about me. She's just generally displeased when we're out and I'm accidentally ripping the wings off butterflies because apparently my character's just a monster for some reason.
I know, right? Like it happens. It happens all the time. I was playing this just a few days ago, and I've been questing through the Bosmer area. And it was this one moment where it's like this dramatic moment having to do with like the Wilder King or something, right? I'm doing like the main quest slides.
Yeah.
And it's like here, it's the most important moment. Oh, I think it was like the wedding or something. And it's like, stand here and hold the summon staff or something, whatever thing it is. And it's like, this is the most important moment of the summoning. Hold the summon staff. And I have to hit the button to pick up the staff, but there happened to be like a lightning bug or something.
Bug goes by.
Right, a torch bug. And then I'll like, and everyone's sitting there waiting for you to do the thing. And then all of a sudden I pull the wings off a torch bug and she's like, you monster. Yeah. It's just like,
that's the thing. So that's the thing though. Like one of the things that, games are great for stuff like this, especially Bethesda games, because you get some wonky stuff. Mm-hmm. But all I can ever picture with that is just like you said, but imagining like being in that setting and your character reaches for the staff and then their eyes dart over to a torch bug and they're just like, and they just turn for some reason and then go back to what they're doing. And what's wrong with this?
And at the same time, your friend next to you doesn't have the wherewithal to like keep herself from commenting.
Right.
In the middle of a wedding.
She's horrified. Somebody in the audience watching all this vomits or something because you're doing because it's not even like you just crushed it for you're tearing it apart and it's like thorax and you put it in your pocket. Like, what is the matter with us?
And your friend just can't stay quiet and just kind of like let the awkwardness be. Just
if
yells.
My friend did that, I think I'd have some questions too. It's like, dude,
it disturbs the quietness of the moment. It's just like, you monster. What are you doing? And everyone's just like, oh my God, who invited them?
Exactly. Yeah. It's the same thing. I mean, sister series, but with Fallout. And I'm pretty sure there's a cartoon for it too, where it's what I've always pictured when you're trying to grab something from the scenery. And it's like a lot of times you'll go into bathroom stalls and they'll be like, ooh, there's something in that toilet, and you miss the item and your character drinks toilet water. And it's just like, oh God, it's like, where have you turned in your life that this is what you're doing?
Someone left some Radaway on the floor next to the go. And you're like, oh.
Exactly.
Right.
So the moral of the story is we're all apparently whacked.
We're all just monsters.
Yep, we're all monsters.
Yeah, that's it. That's the truth. Well, on that note, I think we're at the end of our podcast. Let us have anything you want to share. Anything cool going on? I know we just had an awesome episode of Tales of Tamriel last weekend.
We sure did. That was a lot of fun. I'm currently trying to get everything organized for the coming week and see how the whole stuff will be going, weather-wise in my zone. But no, nothing too dramatic on my side of the fence at the moment. Just kind of the usual. So just doing what I do. Hopefully, I'll have a few more things to post to my YouTube, which is, again, for everybody who's been like, jumping on, watching the vids and stuff like that. I'm glad everybody's been enjoying them. It's basically as fast as I can get stuff to upload, but I've got a few more things that hopefully everybody enjoy. And nice. With football ending soon, I'll be able to tackle a oh man, squandered opportunity for me even do it. Oh man, I wasted dad pun. But yeah, I've got a poll up on my Twitter currently where people can vote on the next classic Elder Scrolls game that I will be streaming the entire playthrough of. Currently, Daggerfall has a pretty commanding lead. So I think we might be going to Daggerfall next. Redguard and Shadowkey are in like a tie for second and third. And
they just want to torture you because all of these are rough.
They are. Well, and then the remaining phone games are shockingly low on the list, with several people being like, I've never heard of this. And I was like, don't feel bad. Most haven't. But yeah, also to your point, and I always appreciate all the people who hang out and just enjoy watching me suffer through some of the older games, for better and worse, because they're an interesting beast being from the early 90s. several people did mention they specifically want me to play Daggerfall because it's old, but still very good. And it will make needing to play the other ones more impactful because it'll be a bigger drop in quality.
Oh, boy.
Which I appreciated.
Yeah, they're setting you up.
Yeah. So if you do want to weigh in on what I play next, I've got the poll up for a couple more days on my Twitter, but be starting another classic soon. So very excited. Man.
Awesome. So that's is there an easy link to get to your YouTube, or should people just search?
So thanks to everybody. I'm just Lotus of Doom there now too. Lotus of Doom literally everywhere. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. It's all Lotus of Doom. Thanks to people getting me my custom thing already. So
nice.
Yeah, no, greatly appreciated. Nice and easy cross branding.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah, and if you don't already listen to Tales of Tamriel, that's Lotus's other show, and I guested on it this last weekend.
Yeah,
and
great discussion.
Yeah, we were talking about High Isle, and the group of us came up with this really cool theory about who the Ascended Lord might be.
I love that. If you end up nailing that.
Well, I mean, it's not just to my credit. Like, we all kind of got there together. So
right, but to be fair, that I did like. I mean, that was kind of your spearhead, and we might have had but it's like I would be pretty impressed if you managed to, even if you want to steer us in that direction. I think it's pretty neat as a theory.
So the conversation went to the idea that there's probably somebody underneath the mask that we will recognize. If we get an unmasking in this next year of content. So who would that possibly be? And then there was the joke of what if it's Darian? And then the conversation went to Meridia, and the fact that we don't have any finishing of Meridia's story of what's she actually up to. And then the conversation went to from that onward. So it evolved from there. I'm not going to, maybe we'll talk about this on a future episode. I'm just going to leave it there so you guys can go listen to the episode if you want to hear the rest of it. And maybe we'll flesh it out a little bit more in a future episode of this. So I know cliffhanger, but go listen to the episode of Tales of Tamriel because it's real good. If you want to hear more, but that's, it goes on from there. But who knows? Maybe we're onto something. Maybe we're not. We'll see.
You won't know if you don't speculate.
Yep, it's crazy speculation, but that's what we're good at around here is crazy speculation, and you never hit the bullseye if you don't throw a bunch of darts. So that's what I always say. But that's
always starting right now.
Right. But yeah, so my stuff you can always find at robotsradio.net, including the Fallout Lorecast and the Witcher Lorecast and the Mass Effect Lorecast and Cyberpunk Lorecast, and then let's see, anything else I've got going on? I've got a bunch of new videos I've been putting up at the Robots Radio YouTube channel. If you're not following that already, you might want to check that out, including a bunch of shorts where I'm doing Elder Scrolls Logic, including one about necromancy that I just put out today. So you can go check that out. And been streaming some stuff. So come check that out on that channel as well. Or you can watch all of the podcasts or game streams over on the Robots Radio YouTube channel or on Twitch or anywhere else because I'm restreaming everywhere. So come follow me and hang out on those channels as well. Or join us on the Robots Radio Discord and come chat with us on there. Plus there's an Elder Scrolls Online guild you can join. But all sorts of fun ways that you can plug into the community. And we even have a Minecraft server. So lots of fun stuff to do. But that's what we got this week. I also, I'm not going to be doing the ESO naked run tonight. There was questions in chat about that. My in-laws are in to visit because my son is off school tomorrow. So they came over. So I'm going to go hang out with them some tonight. But if you guys want to get together and play some ESO, if the guild wants to get together and play tonight, feel free to do that. You guys don't need me to be there. But feel free to jump in together and do some questing or whatever. But have fun, everybody. And Lotus, thanks for being here. Chat.
Pleasure.
Thanks for being here. Love to see you guys, all the comments. This has been awesome seeing you guys with all the fun conversation in chat. And we'll see you guys next week for another awesome episode. So until then, stay safe and, try not to steal things or Bastian's going to be really pissed off at you. Bring Mirri instead. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. If you have something you'd like to contribute to the show, please reach out to us at elderscrollslorecast@gmail.com or on Twitter @ESO Lorecast. I really appreciate you listening, and I'd love to hear from you soon.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.